The Guardian games are finally here, and with the Guardian games come 3 new sets for each class, and oh boy, they are absolutely stunning. And I will tell you up front, these armor sets are must-haves, as you probably have already realized on your own. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing is showing you my favorite shaders with all 3 sets, and I'm going to be doing a build for each of my classes just to kind of get those creative gears turning in case you don't really know what to do with the armor, or you bought it and you were like in a creative slump. I'm here to help. And to help you even further, if you haven't already checked out my videos that I did showing off every shader with all 3 sets, you should probably click on the top right corner or the link down below to go check that video out. I also left some timestamps for you there. And if you're new here, my name is Muffin Bandit and I do Destiny 2 fashion videos. And if you want to see more videos like you're about to see now, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you end up enjoying this one, hit that like button as well. Okay, so let's first start this off by talking shaders. So the first one that I noticed that I liked on pretty much all of them, but more specifically the Titan, is going to be Gambit Jadestone. I don't think I have to explain myself really for Gambit Jadestone. It is a dark green color with a super bright green light, and what's not to like about that unless you don't like glow? Now for my hunters, I have a cleaner shader for you guys. I have Carbon Blood, which adds a nice matte gray on there with hints of red. If you want a similar clean look for the Warlocks, then I would recommend trying out Grand Luster. It adds a nice clean white color, and for your lights it turns them purple. And it also gives your Warlock this like future scientist type of aesthetic. Now, if you are after more of a unique shader that isn't really used by a whole lot of people, you can check out Revelry Black Sand, which is currently in the Eververse store as of week 1 of the 2022 Guardian games. It's honestly one of my favorite shaders in the game, period. So if you're looking for maybe something that's like it and you're viewing this video in the future, you could try out Boreal Char on the Warlocks or any other Guardian class. Now, you want to know a weird one that I liked, and I'm not sure if you guys are going to like it, but it's actually Atlantis Wash on the Hunter set. Now, the next one on the Titan is going to be Refurbished Black Armory, and I just really like the base color on this set. Even if you may not like the red glow, I really like the bluish gray color that this adds to the armor, and you can possibly get a good combination with this. Okay, and the last couple I have for you on the Warlock and the Hunter, I like for the same reasons because they are both kind of the same color scheme. So on the Warlock, it is the Throne of Soot, and on the Hunter, it is the Plated Lupinus. Both have that like muted gray blue color that I can't really describe, and they are nicely highlighted by the muted yellow glow on the Warlock and the bright yellow glow on the Hunter. And I just think that they're both a very nice combination of colors, and not a combination that I see too often. Before we continue, I would like to give a big thank you to my Patreon members. You guys are awesome, and you make videos like this possible. I wouldn't be able to buy all of the silver for these sets if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you. And if you guys want to become a Patreon, there will be a link down below for that, where one of the perks is you and I can do one-on-ones to make fashion together using a special channel in my Discord server. So if you're interested, there will be links down below. Okay, so now that we talked about the different shaders that I like with these armor sets, let's talk about the individual armor pieces themselves. So to get this out of the way up front, I will probably use the word versatile a whole lot because this is in fact the most versatile set that I have worked with in a very long time. You can probably find a use for each individual piece. It is just that good. The only thing that I see wrong with this armor set is, one, if you're one of those people that just don't like armor glows, which you're kind of weird, bud. Just kidding, I'm not making fun of you. But the Guardian Games logo on the chest doesn't shade, and the Guardian Games logo on the back of the helmet also doesn't shade, which is really weird because we are kind of going backwards of what they said last year, which they were going to stop trying to do that, and they did a really good job with the last set. But yeah, those are the only things that I found really wrong with it. Other than that, it is really good and really easy to work with. The chest plate I don't like personally, but I do see a lot of people using it in my server right now, so I'm not saying it's bad. The helmet is probably my favorite helmet in the game right now, alongside the Midnight Oil helmet, which is also really easy to work with. So I want to say this up front, no matter what you see me do here, which is building out my Titan, you will probably find a different shader combination, a different armor combination that you think is going to be better, because this set just has so much that you can do with it, so much possibility that you can do with this armor set. So you will always find something better no matter who you are, because we all have different taste. So for the legs, I know that you guys like it whenever I incorporate exotics into here. And one of my mods, Inuba, actually was trying to use the Path of the Burning Steps exotic. So I decided that his Guardian would look a lot better with the ornament called Lighted Steps. And then I thought, maybe I can apply that onto my own build. And I did just that. And oh boy, did that change up the whole look, and it just kind of completed it. I always thought that the Lighted Steps ornament resembled the Guardian Games kind of aesthetic perfectly, so it just kind of fit. And I like that there's also lights down here which help balance out all of the glow that you are seeing currently up top. And that's how I ended up coming up with my look. I paired it with Of 10 Suns and the egg ghost shell that Eververse sold last week. I will say that you can probably find a different shader that you'll like more with this armor set, just because again, it is just so easy to get to do what you want. And another shader that I really liked with it was actually Amethyst Veil, which I know you guys are going to be like, oh, cringe, he's using Amethyst Veil. But actually, I mean, we have it for a reason, so might as well use it, because oh boy, it just looks so good. So yep, that's my Titan. Oh, the Hunter set. So let's get this out of the way to begin with. Everybody, whenever they first saw all of the Guardian game stuff, immediately said that this one was the weakest link of the three. And I agree with that to a certain extent. So it's definitely not as good as the Warlock one or the Titan one, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad set. So the Warlock and the Titan, those armor pieces will really make your look a lot more loud and a lot more unique and a lot cooler. The Hunter one is going to be used more to kind of fill in the gaps of your fashion. If you can't really find an arm piece that you like or a chest piece, you might want to look into using this set, because it is really good for filling in those gaps, just because like the other two sets, it's really easy to combine with other armor pieces, provided that they have a little bit of glow going on. So the main two pieces that I like from this set are going to be the cloak. I think that it is very simple and the glow is very tasteful. It's not like all over the place. And the helmet, just because of the way that it's shaped. Again, it looks like a motorcycle helmet, and I very much like that shape. And another thing about this set is it takes shaders very well, a lot like the other two sets. But the Guardian Games logo, again, doesn't really shade. But you can easily solve that by using a different chest plate, which I will now do myself. So I'm going to do the Raiju's harness because it has a lot of glow to it, and it's really easy to make look really cool. The next piece that I ended up replacing was going to be the arms. This side kind of looked a little bit too boring for my liking, so I went with the interlaced gauntlets, or the interlaced grips, whatever they're called. I like these because they do add a little bit of complexity, which helps balance out the complexity of this material on the Raiju's harness. And it of course adds a little bit of glow on the sides, and it's animated, so it looks really freaking cool. So I didn't want to use too much of the same set, and even though I really like this cloak, it has to go. So I decided to use the Psionic Stalker cloak from this current season because one, it does have a good amount of glow on the back, and we get this really nice hood up top, and I just really like that shape. And this like little gadget right here kind of complements the whole like gadgetry that we have going on in the interlaced grips. So now we had to choose a shader, and a lot like my Titan build and a lot like the Warlock build that I'm going to be doing, you can just use whatever shader you want. Again, this armor is very versatile, so it's going to be left up to personal taste. I know that a lot of you are immediately going to go with Gambit Jadestone to be able to blind your fire team members and whoever you're playing with. Cue the meme that I made last year here. But personally, I went with welded brass. I wanted to do something a little bit more like purple and a lot darker, and I didn't want all of the details of my armor completely washed out by a very bright green light. And that's going to be my Warlock. To tie it together, I use the concentric Dawn Sparrow, I believe I'm saying that right, and the Ghost Shell is the Adonis Shell to add in a little bit more purple to my build. And now we get to the Warlock set. So I feel like this one was most people's favorite one, just because it really reminded them of Tron, specifically Clue from Tron. So yeah, this set is simply amazing. My only gripe with it is same thing with the Guardian Games logo on the front and on the back. Does not shade, but it doesn't really bother me too much. As far as the individual armor pieces go, all of them are pretty easy to work with. The bond is a little forgettable. It's just kind of like a projection bond on like a ring around your arm. Kind of boring. Same thing with the boots, although they are really cool at the bottom. Up here in the thigh area, just kind of boring. I would suggest using a cloak a lot like this one that helps hide the boring thighs on this. Gloves, pretty easy to work with, although I will lean towards the bulkier robes if you're going to use these. And as for the helmet and the robes, they are basically perfect. Do whatever you want with these because you will create something amazing with them. I did find it a little bit hard to separate these two. I know it's kind of taboo in the fashion world to use the two together, so I was trying to kind of decide which one I was going to get rid of, and I ended up getting rid of the robes even though it really hurt. But I decided to go with the corrupting echo robes here because the helmet itself looks a little bit evil, a little bit Mount Doomy. I don't know, I just got some really evil vibes from the helmet. So what better evil robes than the corrupting echo robes? Now the second thing that needed to go was the bond. I just kind of thought it was boring, so that's what I tried to get rid of next. For now, I went with the Meridian Constellation bond just because of the little cool swirl that goes on right here, and it didn't really interfere with anything that I was doing. For the gloves, this one was a little bit more of a harder decision. I definitely had to go one by one to see which pair of arms I liked the most with this, and I arrived at the Dendrite armor set, which was another armor set that I basically thought was kind of flawless. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'm sure I'm popping something up on the screen now. So yeah, the Dendrite gloves, I like these in combination with the Thorn armor set. They do have a little bit of pointiness to them, and they do have a little bit of glow to them, so it just works very nicely together. Now for the legs, I couldn't really find too much that I was liking here. I did go one by one to see what I liked, but everything was either kind of like clipping or it was just too bulky. I don't know, nothing really tickled my fancy with my choices. And then I remembered that I had a certain ornament, and that was the one for the transversive steps, which I believe is called like Mind Striders. Yeah, called the Mind Striders, and they have this really cool glow effect on like the thigh area, which I thought was really cool and might end up working out with the helmet. From there, I just kind of scrolled through the shaders to see what I liked, and same story as before. You will probably end up finding a shader you like more than my choice, but my choice ended up being Refurbished Black Armory because it gave me kind of like a charcoal undertone, and it gave me this like really evil red glow to the helmet and all of my other different armor pieces. And that really helped tie this like evil villain or evil creature kind of aesthetic all together. And to help on my fashion here, I use the Blood Runner Sparrow, and for my ghost, I did not use this ghost. I used the one from the Vow of the Disciple raid because it had a little bit of like pointy little things going around the eye, which I mean I have pointy spikes on my shoulder, so I thought it matched. And just like that, you've reached the end of the video. Honestly, guys, I hope that I helped you come to a conclusion if you were maybe on the fence about buying these armor sets. I don't think a lot of you would be though, because they are really awesome and they are some of the most well-received armor sets in a very long time. And trust me guys, I'm on social media all the time. If you follow me there, you'll know that there are always angry people, but for the most part, I hardly saw any. A lot of people are really loving these sets. The hunters kind of feel like they got the short end of the stick here, but their sets are still pretty good. And like I said before, there are definitely going to be some uses for their armor. So to give you a firm conclusion, yes, you should absolutely buy the Warlock and the Titan set. No doubt, this is going to be one of those sets that everybody should have. As for the hunters, this is really going to be personal opinion. If you think that it's going to be useful to you, go ahead and buy it. You won't regret it. But if you don't really see any uses for it and you don't really like the style of it, I would understand if you don't buy it. On your way out, if you can do me a big favor and hit that like button as well as that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Another big thank you to my Patreon members. You made this video possible and the last video I did with all of the shaders. You guys are amazing and I couldn't do this without you. The next video will be a big fashion showcase of your fashion for the Guardian games, so stick around for that. In the meantime, click on any of the videos popping up in your end card now, and as always, stay beautiful.